Great, thank you very much. Well, hi everyone. Thanks very much for being a part of this great event and for joining me for my presentation. Now, some of you are probably thinking, what is this guy talking to us about quality for? I thought this presentation was about micropropagation. Well, it's because sometimes I hear things like this. In all seriousness, it's worth having a conversation about quality. I contend that quality is going to be the key driver for consumer purchasing behavior. Those firms which embrace this will grow and maintain their market share, while those who don't will see their incumbency disappear or suffer a failure to launch. I'd like to share with you today some observations about the state of the industry, and to provide you with what may be for some of you a contrarian view about what's next in Canadian cannabis. Some headlines: massive greenhouses, outdoor production, low-cost cannabis, a race to the bottom. The fundamental assumption here is that cannabis is a commodity, that all cannabis is created equal. But why make such an assumption? What support is there for this view? Substitutive goods like wine and beer are not commodities. US cannabis markets certainly differentiate on the basis of quality. All legal cannabis is subject to the same regulatory standards. So what can account for these market judgments? It's simple. Quality is represented by more factors than just regulatory compliance and potency. Scale is the enemy of quality. Large rooms increase production risk. Low capital expansion sacrifice control over environmental conditions. Mechanization inherently affects product quality, particularly post-harvest. I believe the capital markets have not justly recognized producers who are focused on quality and building consumer trust. To quote an industry pioneer, Tom Flo, the co-founder of MedRelief, getting a large-scale greenhouse to produce premium flower is almost impossible or not possible at all. If this statement is true, it could square what we'll see next with the current production shortfalls. If you have a look, there's almost 20 months inventory worth of bulk packaged unfinished goods, and that number is growing each month. This product is positioned for packaging, ready to be brought to market, right? Great. Someone call Premier Ford's office, tell him to hurry up and grant some more retail licenses. But wait, before we do, could it be that this unfinished inventory is not destined to be enjoyed as a floral product? Another industry icon gives us a better sense about what this unfinished product is for. As Bruce Linton says, it's the molecules that matter. Given the scope of investments in extraction and formulation processes, it may be more reasonable to assume that this inventory is destined for the derivatives product marketplace. This same graph shows that there's rarely over 3 months finished inventory on hand. Therefore, what quality cannabis is being produced is selling immediately, and based on wholesale prices, at a nice margin. Certainly derivative products market is exciting. Frankly, it's a godsend for producers holding such inventories. If these vaults were full of desirable floral products, then those producers would be taking advantage of the current supply-demand imbalances. Fortunately, there will soon be an outlet for this less desirable cannabis. It begs the question, though, can the new regulations uptake the current industry skew to low-cost production? In mature US cannabis markets, more than 40% of revenues are still derived from floral cannabis products. That's in regulatory environments where any type of derivative product is allowed. It's important to note that Health Canada's draft regulations do not permit many of the most popular derivative products. Inputs for derivative products will also face competition from the new outdoor class of licenses, and also from imports from jurisdictions with better climatic conditions as a global supply chain develops. To be clear, I think Bruce has a point. When you can add value through formulation, low-cost molecules are key. However, it's worth considering Canadian greenhouses might be caught in the middle, not able to compete on the basis of quality in the floral segment, and too expensive for ingredient manufacturing. Let's talk about the floral product that is available on the market. It appears the legal cannabis market is failing to meet some consumer expectations. Some have suggested that this slow market capture is a function of price. However, Statistics Canada's recent National Cannabis Survey shows that it gives us a different impression. Price is not the primary driver of consumer purchasing behavior. It's quality and safety that are the #1 reported concerns, and by quite a wide margin. Unlike the black market, the legal cannabis market provides assurances that cannabis products are safe and free of contamination. Thus, it must be other aspects related to quality that can account for the slow adoption. According to an Ernst & Young report, only 25% of interviewed producers say they are focused on quality. What does that say about these brands? A recent report by the Globe and Mail suggests that in today's marketplace, it's not about the brands anymore. It's about the products and what they represent. This statement holds true for me when I think about branding in cannabis. Let me give you an example. This is some product that's available from the OSC website. Note the potency. Purportedly, it's the same strain made by the same producer. Does this demonstrate to consumers that they are receiving good value? Consistency, both within batches and between batches, is necessary to building consumer confidence. Common industry practices are incapable of delivering a high degree of consistency. The experienced and savvy cannabis consumers have a floral fixation. Ultimately, as an industry, we are involved in floriculture. Cultivation methods from a bygone era were often a function of restrictions or sanctions based on plant counts. Yield per plant was a common metric, and this translated into a celebration of enormous cannabis plants, which I must say are pretty impressive. But from a commercial standpoint, these approaches are less than ideal. Short stature plants planted at high density limit the variance in potency between the top and the bottom flowers. The plants invest more of their energy into producing flower and less stem and leaf. However, high density planting, the trend in many other agricultural products like this modern apple orchard, requires a highly scalable source of plantlets. Using conventional cloning practices creates a significant opportunity cost, as the space devoted to manufacturing these inputs decreases the space available for floral production. Micropropagation using plant tissue culture techniques affords a highly scalable platform for input production. It utilizes 1/10 of the square footage and energy required to manufacture those inputs. It addresses the massive opportunity costs associated, freeing up valuable cultivation space. Micropropagation allows for the maintenance of larger genetic libraries and improves production agility. These techniques provide the ability to stabilize germplasm, to remove biological contamination, and also to redundantly store genetic assets for safekeeping. Pairing the advantages of clean and vigorous inputs with high-density cultivation results in a clear difference in terms of productivity as well as quality. If we accept that consistency is an important aspect of a quality message, then what is it that we're trying to produce consistently? Let me describe for you my cannabis ritual and what factors are important to me as a consumer. It's a typical Friday. I got home after work, I've walked my dog, I'm ready to relax, unwind, and reflect on the week. I have a new product that I haven't tried yet. After all, I got to do my market research. I'll check the packaging date. It's no guarantee that the product is fresh. It might have been bulk packaged months ago. But if the product has been sitting in an individual package for too long, it goes dry. Opening up the bottle, I peel back the heat seal, which is there to prevent the moisture and those delightful terpenes from escaping and making the flowers stale. I stick my nose right in there. I want to get a full sense of the complex aromas. I'm checking to see if there are strong, sweet, fruity tones, not earthy or musty like cut hay or a barn. This tells me if the product has been cured, off-gassing those compounds which plants produce while they die, while preserving the volatile terpenes which can be depleted if drying is too quick. Curing is different than drying. It's a slow process, allowing the breakdown of carbohydrates which otherwise burn very hot and create an acrid taste. It's best done at low temperatures so as not to deplete the terpenes over this extended period. Think of it as aging scotch or wine, bringing out the full potential of the product. Next, I'm inspecting the flower. Are the buds big and full of colors? Reds and purples are my favorite, but that's a subjective preference. I also want to see green in the inflorescence though. That tells me if the plants were healthy right to the end of the cycle. Are the pistils, the little hairs that are on the flowers, a consistent amber, or are they white if the product was harvested too soon, or brown if it was harvested too late? Are the sugar leaves nice and frosty, or has the trichome been knocked off by mechanical stress of trimming machines? Are the flowers flat and misshapen from vacuum packing or handling in large bins? I want to see a nice aesthetic, not something that looks like it went through a stone tumbler. After all, I'm buying a flower, a universal object of beauty. Are the buds dense and firm, but not hard or crumbly? They should be a touch springy, homogeneous, not crispy on the outside and wet on the inside. When ground, the right amount of moisture content makes for easy rolling and a consistent burn. I pack my vape, I set my temperature starting low, 310 Fahrenheit, and I slowly increase it after each pull up to about 360. It allows me to taste each terpene and flavonoid as I pass through their vaporization point. You can taste the individual notes of citrus, berry, pine, and others produced by the terpenes. As many of you know, it's been shown empirically that terpenes have a synergistic effect with cannabinoids. Commonly known as the entourage effect, they modulate the effects of cannabis. At the end of this ritual, it's also about how the product makes me feel. The nice part about vaping cannabis is that I always find the sweet spot for relaxation. Given that the effect takes minutes if inhaled, not hours from an edible, I never have to worry about over-consuming. For me, it's not all about potency. With all due respect to my Newfie friends, Screech is not that popular a drink off the rock. Now you may say I'm a niche consumer, and on the spectrum, I'd put myself closer to that of a connoisseur. However, with an increasingly educated consumer base, and with greater choice and better accessibility, these quality characteristics will increasingly matter. It's not something that you can fake. It requires time and attention at each step of the process to bring together all these great qualities. Particularly in such a restrictive advertising space, reputation is paramount, as we all compete to win over key influencers and benefit from word of mouth. This focus on quality has been the impetus for the innovative work we do at CannTx. We have created a suite of services, Steadystem Solutions, to help the industry as a whole deliver better cannabis products to consumers. It's incumbent on the industry to not just simply meet minimum standards, but to exceed them. If we continue this current industry trajectory, the black market will be sustained. But if we all elevate our game, we will create a robust, thriving industry, delivering good value to consumers and setting the bar internationally. I'm Buck Young, co-founder of CannTx Life Sciences. And if you'd like to learn more, I invite you to come see us at our booth, sign up for our newsletter, and thank you very much for your time.